Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Power Up by PNM podcast hour in partnership with the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, featuring some of our community's favorite leaders and small business owners. So plug in your favorite device, grab a sack lunch and your favorite beverage, and join us every Tuesday at noon to meet the movers and shakers in our community that are not letting anything hold them back. We are here to inspire you to continue to grow and scale your small business venture. Don't forget to call us at 505-842-9003 for all of your PPE supply needs. And for this podcast and any and all other information about the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, visit us at www.ahcnm.org/chamber chat. We'll give you another minute if you are joining us live.
We are live here with you, hopefully, on Facebook, and we want to welcome you to our Power Up by PNM hour, and I get to be the host today. I'm very excited about that. I get to interview the interviewer, Mr. JP Espinosa. Yay.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, so welcome. We are so glad that you guys are here to join us. And, we're here with the Hispano Chamber and thankful to PNM really because of our why. And our why is we believe in contributing to a greater cause. We believe in a lot of different things, but small business, lifting New Mexico, and lifting small business. And there is someone here that absolutely does that every single day, Mr. JP Espinosa again.
You're so kind.
Yeah, so I am the treasurer of the Hispano Chamber. My boss is Mr. JP. He is the board chairman for the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And so today we're going to learn a lot about JP, and hopefully you'll walk away with a lot of new information about business, JP's small business, and everything he does for our community.
Oh, you're so kind. I'm so excited and looking forward to today's talk and getting to spend time with you, Erin.
I know. We get to hang out again. This is big deal, right?
Yeah, it is.
I did want to mention a couple things before we get started, kind of some homework. We have some upcoming events, and the Chamber's really good at doing that. We host a lot of events. I say we, but the Chamber staff does an amazing job at hosting a ton of events, right, JP?
Oh, for sure.
And so the next one we have coming up is on tomorrow, I think, Wednesday, February 24th, which is our Biz Gratis mashup. And those are really fun. Biz Gratis joins a lot of different organizations and small businesses here, and so those are great. On February 25th, we have our Procurement Graduation. That's really exciting because we have been doing some procurement get-togethers and having people learn about procurement in the state, and so that's fantastic. The 26th is a new one that I don't think we've done before. It's the Community Day.
That's right.
Yeah, and so the Community Day is going to be a drive-through. Obviously, we have to do it COVID safe, and so it's a drive-through where we're going to have different tables and people bringing their information about their small businesses, and also the Chamber is going to be handing out PPE, and that's exciting because we get to help everybody who needs those additional resources for the PPE, and we really appreciate that. And lastly, I want to mention our next Powered Up by PNM podcast, which say that 5 times. Yeah. Powered Up by PNM podcast with Casey Durad. She is also one of our board of directors, and so she will be on the show Tuesday, March 2nd.
That's going to be fun. She's amazing. She is brilliant.
She really is. I'm super excited because we've gotten a lot more women on the board of directors.
Yeah, we have.
That's super cool, and she is a powerhouse for sure. I'm excited about her bringing
definitely not going to want to miss that. She's in charge of SpaceX. Forget the name of her business, but I know she works with space and New Mexico, and so she is amazing. You're not going to miss that because she's talking about all the latest development around space and New Mexico.
Yeah, it's really exciting. She's doing a lot around the state, for the state, and obviously encouraging a lot of space growth in the state. So that's exciting. All right, so we're going to start off with Mr. Espinosa. Are you ready to reset, recover, and rebound, sir?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be. We're going to have
electrical issue. Okay, we back?
We are back. And we are live. Yeah, that's
fun.
What happens when you're live?
When we're live, things happen. So
Yeah,
we're back with
we're back.
the electrical, I think, is all good. We good, Angelique? Okay, great. All right, so let's talk about, we get to spend together some time
Yeah.
during board meetings, during other things. We've become friends, right?
Yes, indeed.
So talk to us a little bit about yourself. Just tell everybody about yourself. I know you're not from here, so where are you from?
Yeah.
All the jazz.
Originally born and raised in Houston, Texas, and spent my all my life in Houston, and had the privilege to move to New Mexico in 2015, so JP, I've been in the insurance business now going on 22 years, and so it's been a great journey. So that's been my line of work. But I married my high school sweetheart, and
Miss Ruthie.
Miss
A
Ruthie.
little plug for Miss Ruthie.
She is she's every bit of amazing as I lived with her, and I spent the last 28 years with her. And can you imagine that? That's crazy. And
Yeah, poor Ruthie.
poor Ruthie, yeah.
Just
For
kidding,
me, it's
just
been the
kidding.
joy of my life. For her, it's probably been a prison sentence.
No.
But we have two beautiful daughters, and we really just dedicated our life to trying to make an impact in this world in the short time that we have. Life is so fast. Life goes by so fast. So
Yeah, absolutely. Why did you guys? So you are from Houston. You said. Why
Yeah.
did you guys move to Albuquerque?
the company I work for, they were looking for a leader to come lead in New Mexico, and so when they called me up and said, "Hey JP, would you be open to moving to Albuquerque?" And I'm like, I never thought about that. New Mexico was never in my consideration. I didn't know anybody from New Mexico, and I said, but one thing I do know is that they got to have good people because of all the Latinos there.
Right.
You're right. I mean, it's real. I'm not joking, right? So I'm like, one thing I know about the Latino community is that we're strong. We love family. We have deep values. And I said, with a group of Latinos, I'm going to fit right in. And so, God honest true story, I called my wife and I said, hey, listen, they just offered us New Mexico. Should we take it? And she starts crying. And I'm like, why are you crying? And she's like, because I know the answer is yes. And there was something about being drawn to New Mexico. And so we literally packed up our bags, never stepped foot in Albuquerque before.
Wow.
And I remember that afternoon I was writing a note to my team saying, hey, we're moving to Albuquerque. And I didn't know how to spell it.
It's a tough one. It takes a little while, right?
ABQ period.
Yeah.
And so, it was awesome. And so literally my family and I, we uprooted and we moved to New Mexico.
And we're so glad you did.
Oh, you're so kind.
Honestly, I say all the time, you're one of my favorite people. You say that about me too, but I don't say it just because you say it about me. You really are one of my favorite people. And, a lot of you might be wondering what this whole Power Up PNM podcast is about. And we decided as a chamber to do many things with it, but one of them was kind of highlight some of our board members so you understand who helps with the chamber, so that you can learn more about it and what we do and how we benefit from it as well, and which I think is a big thing of being on the board and being a member of the chamber.
I like to even break down what does it mean to be a board member, because at the end of the day we are chamber members. We are.
You have to be a board member.
Yeah,
right?
we are due paying chamber members, and before each of us got on the board, we contributed to this chamber in terms of activities, in terms of our resources, because we believe in the cause. And what I love about the chamber, what it represents, if you go to the website, you'll learn about when you read about the chamber, it's about wealth creation. It's about creating opportunities. And when the chamber embodies that, I'm 100% behind that.
Yeah.
And so and so as what it means to be a board member is that you get to serve in a higher capacity. So for anybody who's watching and you're saying, how do I get on the board? Number one, it starts with service. And number two, I believe it starts with the willingness to give back to our community. And guess what? We're always looking for future board members. So, raise your hand. Let us know who you are, because we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, we're not only ambassadors, I think, for the
Right.
chamber, obviously, but we also are like you said, members. And so we like to understand how we can connect.
Yeah.
And things like that. So it's great. But we wanted everybody to be able to put a face with the name of our board of directors. And, we are the chamber.
We are the chamber.
Its members and its board of directors, like JP said, we are members as well. So, okay, you gave me a little a minute about JP.
Yeah.
And tell us what your profession is, sir. You just mentioned your company, but you didn't say who and what.
Yeah, so I happen to be the managing partner for New York Life, which is we're a financial institution. We happen to be the largest mutual life insurance company in the country.
Yeah.
What's really awesome is that I was calculating how much benefit we paid out to New Mexicans in New Mexico in 2020. You ready for this number?
Just New Mexico.
Just New Mexico. New Mexico only.
Okay.
You ready for this number? We paid out in terms of death benefits and in terms of retirement benefits.
Okay.
$81 million.
Nice.
$81 million our organization put back into the New Mexico economy in 2020.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of that. And I had the opportunity to lead an amazing group of agents and advisors who show up every single day to give back to New Mexico.
Yeah, that's great.
It's beautiful.
Again, we appreciate you for that. And not that insurance isn't exciting.
Yeah.
Because it is, let me tell you. That's how, accounting is super exciting.
Yeah.
Too, right? But tell me something interesting about yourself that nobody knows.
Oh, man.
And I love this question because I think that you and I know each other pretty well. We've hung out a good amount. So I want to know, what's something interesting that nobody knows about JP except Ruthie?
Oh, my God, that's so hard. The reality is I'm not that much of an interesting guy.
Oh, no.
Here's one thing that most people may not know. I probably read a book every 10 days.
Oh.
I'm an avid reader. I read books, and so literally, Ruthie will come in and she's like, okay, you got 5 more books that came in from Amazon.
And are you the paper book?
I am a paper book. And recently what I did, I started integrating Audible and paper book because I'm a highlighter, I'm a note taker, and it's so funny. One of my managers who happens to work for us, and she's like, dude, you write Post-it notes on your notes within your books. Yeah, you're such a nerd. and I love reading, and I read a lot. I love, just like you, Aaron, the game of golf. I'm not very good at it, but
you don't have to be good.
You don't have to be good.
You just have to like it.
I love it.
And not be able to make fun of yourself. Right?
Yeah,
How many times have we played where we're like,
oh, we're like, oh man,
that was bad.
Oh, that was bad. A good thing we bought a bunch of mulligans, right? It's like, yeah, we're gonna hit this one again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I love have so much fun. So yeah, I wake up around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning every morning.
Okay, that's something interesting. People
Yeah.
should know. You wake up at 3:30.
I wake up. My goal is to be down in my office by 3:45, 4 o'clock every morning.
What time do you go to sleep? 7?
I wish, right? I wish. I probably go to sleep around 9:30, 10.
Wow.
Normal, you know.
So
Yeah.
it's like you get 4 hours of work in before work starts.
Yeah, it's so funny because I got half a
Or
day.
is that when you read?
That's when I read. That's when I study. That's when I analyze. That's JP time,
Yeah.
And it just seems like when you're giving back, you just need some time to recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I'm traveling, it's horrible because you don't have your routine. As I'm getting older and the gray hair is starting to sit in, I'm starting to get like a little bit more like my routine, my grouchy routine. Like I need my coffee, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's something that you wish you had known when you began your career? If you could go back and go, JP hitting the pavement. And I think you started in this industry.
I did.
Right out of college.
Yeah,
right?
just right out, and this is all I've ever done professionally. I've done a lot of cool things and been involved in a lot of ventures, and hopefully we could talk about some of those ventures later on. But, this has been my core, and, I struggled with fear so much in my life. I struggled with fear in a tremendous amount. Matter of fact, that kind of fear that's just paralyzing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll stay up so many nights worrying and just playing out different roles in my head that, and none of them were good. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
ever been there?
Yeah.
And if I can go back, it always worked out. Like,
Yeah.
it always worked out. And I can't tell you how many nights, like, I stayed awake wondering, like, will it work out? And there was not one time it did not work out.
Yeah.
And so I would tell myself, going back early on, like, number one, put your emotions in check, JP, because you're about to go on a roller coaster. And if you let your emotions continue to dictate your actions, you're going to live a miserable life. And so, that's one of the things that if I can go back and I can redo it, and it'd be like, don't worry as much.
Yeah. Don't worry as much.
Yeah.
So would you give that same advice to someone who was starting off in your career? Because I know, what a lot of people may not know is the industry that you're in is very entrepreneurial.
It's extremely entrepreneurial.
So even people who are in your office, yes, you work for New York Life, and that's, kind of your umbrella,
Right.
but you're essentially running your own business.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Each agent individually.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of just like the coach that pulls it all together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. People think I got a bunch of employees, but it's like herding cats. You know what I mean? It's like, like, no, I'm not coming. Like, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And that really had to evolve in how I support our agents, because at the end of the day, I'm in business support. My job is to really help people to grow their enterprise, grow their practice from scratch. And so, yeah, I would say anybody who is an entrepreneur, take that advice. Like, where I found my security, my safety were in the systems and processes that I built.
Yeah.
And what I found out about success is that success is like a combination lock. And if you understand the combination, it unlocks that lock every single time. And the sooner that you learn those combinations for your business and your processes, that it works like a champ. And all of a sudden, the emotion of fear and anxiety and worry begin to dissipate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and consistency helps because the entrepreneurial spirit is very inconsistent, and change is the number one.
It changes from second to second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So having that, whatever can be consistent.
Yeah.
Utilizing your resources and your processes.
That's right.
Somewhat like the chamber.
The chamber is a big part of those systems and process because, and from a lot of different perspectives. Perspective number one would be that just like any business, any entrepreneur, you need a constant source of new relationships. I'm not going to use the word leads, because the chamber doesn't produce leads.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, no, the chamber does not. Connections, relationships,
yep.
Opportunities.
That's.
It generates that activity, but does not produce leads.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You would agree with that?
Do you use that same language in your business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your business is super relationship based.
It's 100% relationship based. And matter of fact, and over time, you really got to understand how those relationships are built. You got to understand what those relationships will do, not only for your business, but for you personally. And you have to be real choosy on which relationships you decide to invest in.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into, kind of, I want to go back to something you said that actually to me is the most interesting thing that some people don't know about you.
What's that?
Because when you meet you're super energetic, outgoing, confident. And so for you to say, man, fear drove me for a really long time.
Yeah.
And maybe still sometimes.
Well, it keeps me sharp.
Yeah. Keeps you awake, right?
Keeps me awake. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that. What do you mean fear? And I know that's kind of deep in this, little kind of counseling session, but because I get that. I mean, I think a lot of people who have I would consider us having similar personalities, and I tell people a lot. I've told my employees in the past, like, man, I'm insecure. I got to tell you,
man.
But people wouldn't know that. So talk about your fear and why maybe, and how you get past that.
Yeah. Oh, that is deep.
Sorry.
I don't have to pay you. You're my therapist right now, so you're gonna have to bill me for this. But going back to fear, if you're like Aaron and myself that have decided to make entrepreneurship our banner, there's no safety net for us.
Yeah.
Right. I happen to provide for my wife and my kids. I help support my mom financially, and if I don't produce, like there's no safety net.
Yeah.
There's no trust. There's no, my wife, she's been a stay-at-home mom, domestic engineer, which by the way needs to be honored and respect for if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's like so powerful.
Yeah.
But
you're saints in my book.
Right. And I truly mean that. You know, what my wife does at home is priceless, and I honor her and I respect her. And so, but going back to your question, is that there's no safety net. And so that fear of trying to make sure that we produce and make sure income comes in and meet the needs of the family, meet the needs of the community, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that you're sharing that with us because it's real.
It's real.
That's where we're all at as leaders and entrepreneurs, right?
Right.
Well, we're going to learn more about Mr. JP Espinosa when we come back after our commercial break here at PNM's Power Up podcast.
This is Shannon Jackson with PNM. I have some really good news for the small businesses in our community. We know there are many still struggling to make ends meet with this pandemic, and PNM wants to help you. The PNM COVID Customer Relief Fund helps eligible customers pay down or possibly even pay off your past due PNM bill. In fact, we actually just increased the amount of assistance to $500 for small businesses and nonprofits that are behind on their electric bill. This is especially if you are a small business owner in the restaurant, retail, hospitality, leisure, or entertainment industry, or if you offer services through things like salons, massage therapy, or small automotive garages, things like that. If you need help paying your past due PNM bill, apply online at pnm.com/help or contact us at 855-364-2950. That's pnm.com/help for all the details and to also apply, or you can call us at 855-364-2950. The deadline to apply is March 31st, though. So we care about you, our community, and we really just want to provide you with every dollar of financial help that's available.
Hey there, guys. Welcome back to our Power Up PNM podcast. We're here with JP Espinosa, the chairman of our board, and we are learning a lot about him.
Oh, yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, you, sir.
Well, to pick up where we left off in terms of how do we deal with that fear, I think that, fear is a false sense of security, right? And when I realized that fear is more of a threat than a reality, I had to learn how to control that, and so, what I realized that the vast majority of things that I feared, they actually didn't happen, so I was sitting here freaking out, man. I never will forget one time, and I was an agent, and it was in 2008. Remember when the financial crisis hit? And and things went from bad to worse. I lost my largest client. And it just, things seemed like it was just unfolding. And I remember going to the grocery store, and we were pretty much depleted in our savings. We were tapping into our retirement accounts at this point, and we only had a couple $100 in the bank account. And I was sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? And I remember buying groceries, and the girls were small. So this
2008,
yeah. So Annalise was a year old.
Right.
So. And diapers and formula is expensive, and I'm sitting here dang, and we paid all these things. And I remember going into the parking lot with my basket, and I just began to cry. And I was crying because I was scared. And I remember just getting so mad at myself. And I said, that's it. I'm done with this fear. And I believe it or not, that was, believe it or not, the turning point where I said, hey, I can't allow fear to paralyze me, because we only got a couple $100 in our bank account, and if I don't go to work and start facing this fear, then it's going to swallow us up.
Yeah, I got to go get it.
I got to get it, baby. Got to make it rain.
Right.
And I went to work with tears in my eyes. I went and then I just pressed through. And I think sometimes you just got to take fear, and it's a bullet, and you got to punch it back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with you. And so was that your fork in the road? I put quotes around it. Was that, we talked about a little bit, what's a turning point, or there's probably been several in your life, but was that one of your forks in the road? Yeah,
it was definitely one. You come to a fork in the road, and, I believe that one road leads to your destiny and what you need to move to the next level. The other, I don't know if the other road leads to something bad, but it certainly leads to mediocrity.
Yeah.
And I think that's just as bad as missing out on your opportunity or having something bad happen. Is that living the life you could have led? There's.
I thought you were going to say living la vida loca.
Well, that's also the other thing.
And I was real impressed.
There's this author by the name of Dennis Waitley, and I never will forget this quote because it impacted me so much. And he said in this quote in this book that I read one time, he says that the greatest torture that can ever be devised is to watch a continuously repeating videotape of the life you could have led had you dared to believe in pursuing the dreams and goals that were available and attainable in your lifetime.
That's a lot, and I love it. That is amazing. And what does that mean to you?
I don't want to sit back. One of my favorite movies of all time is Braveheart. And really that quote from Dennis Waitley really summarizes where Mel Gibson, William Wallace is about to take the battlefield, and there's so many of the nobles who are like, no, man, we can't do this. They'll crush us. And William Wallace gets on his horse and he has his war paint on, and he says it's like, hey, many years from this day, we're going to be laying in our beds, right? Laying in our beds. And, there's going to be a point where we have to decide whether or not, are we going to be champions or are we going to be cowards? And I don't want one day to go by, wondering, what would have life been had I just jumped and had I pressed forward. And, basically what he's saying is we don't want to be cowards. We want to be champions. And if we're going to die fighting, so let it be. Let me die.
Man, I didn't think we knew we were going to cry today, JP, because I feel this is like an inspirational moment where you're on your horse with your war paint telling those, because there's people out there right now that are in that fork in the road. You betcha. And so I think that's kind of cool about these podcasts is that we want to be those people that inspire or make them think or wonder, I'm going to call that guy JP Espinosa and see how he can show me to get on my horse and get out there. And
and I want you to call me. I want you to reach out to me because I am here to serve you. I really am. And by the way, I will take that phone call.
Yeah, I think that people don't realize one of the things I think I mentioned this last week that we definitely are connectors. I think that's one of the things that the chamber brings and the board brings, and it's great. I know that every time I've called JP, he answers my call. He helps me if I said, hey, have you heard of this person, or do you know this, or what have you? We all do that for each other, I think. But not only each other, we've talked many times that, hey, members, if you need someone to help you, mentor you, push you in the right direction, or just lend an ear, that we're here for each other to do that as a community.
Yeah, that's so good, Aaron, because, part of this journey in life is about camaraderie. And, I love military movies, as you can imagine. One of my other favorite movies is We Were Soldiers by Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's one of my favorite actors.
Apparently,
yeah. And there's this part of the movie that is so powerful because they're doing what they call their final review, and they're about to leave their training ground and go literally into the heat of battle. And I love what Mel Gibson says in this movie, and he's a colonel who's leading the charge, and he says, hey, listen, we're going to face a fierce and determined enemy. I love how he says that. We're going to face a fierce and determined enemy. And he goes on to say that the people next to you are your brothers. They're not black, they're not white, they're not Hispanic, they're not Asian, they're your brothers. And he says that, here's one thing. We're going to go into this battle, and some of you guys will live, some of you guys may die. Not all of us are going to come home. But he says, not all of you will make it. And I love this part. He says, but we will all come home together.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that is so good. And I think part of this pursuit of success and the pursuit of purpose that we do here at the Chamber and in our daily lives is that we will all come home together. And I love working with you and Joe Trimble and just the rest of our board, Ernie and Angelique and the team, and because I really feel that as long as I have you guys by my side, I'm never alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, it's quite it's quite great to see. I've reached out to another board member recently and said, hey, I need some help in this like random thing you probably would never thought I'd ask you for.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
do you mind? And they're like, absolutely. Whatever you need, man, I'm here. And I know that a lot of the board members and members in general help each other a lot. And so it's great. So it's funny. I think you and I are super similar in terms of our personal and our business lives really kind of intermingling a lot.
Right.
And that goes for friendships like that we've discovered in our business lives, and that goes for just how we live, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I think or most of the times it's good, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you kind of delineate those things for a second and put personal in a box and business in a box. Who are 3 people, and they don't have to be New Mexicans, but I prefer them to be. No, but who are 3 people in your personal life that have really just changed your life?
I got to give a shout out to my pastor, Steve Smotherman, and in my personal life because, he's taught me so much. I can't tell you how much this man's taught me. He taught me through his example, through his wisdom. And there's one day where I was throwing a fit. Every now and then we throw fits, right? Yeah. We throw fits.
Tantrum, got it.
Yeah. And I was throwing a fit. And I was so fed up. I was mad. I was angry. And I wanted to leave New Mexico. I wanted to go back home. I
think I remember this time in your life. Yeah.
Man, I just I'm done here, And it was nothing against New Mexico. It was just I was missing my family, and I just wanted to get back to what I knew. You know what I mean? And I remember I was telling my pastor about this, and he said something that was so profound. It changed my life. He tells me this. He says, JP, when did this become about you? He said, I thought you said you had a purpose to fulfill. When did this ever become about you? And I was like, that's not fair. Why would you tell me that?
Yeah. Don't use my words against me.
And he says, if you keep the purpose in front of you to help people, bless people, then it's never about you, and you're never going to feel sorry for yourself. And that was, believe it or not, a turning point here. And I said, you're absolutely right. I need to make New Mexico my home. And it really changed for me. My perspective changed.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
In terms of my professional life, I got to give a massive shout out, and it's not because he's the president of this chamber, but Ernie C. DeBach, and I mean this, Ernie, if you're watching, Ernie, man, I owe you a debt of gratitude, my friend. I remember when I was brand new to New Mexico, I was nervous, I was excited, great anticipation, but I did not know anybody. I did not know a soul, and it just so happened the first couple of months that I moved here, I met Ernie C. DeBach, and Ernie embraced me.
Yeah.
It was like he was put in my life for that specific purpose, and he began to introduce me people, and one by one, in having lunches, playing golf with people, and it was because of Ernie I met Steve Schroeder.
Right.
And if you haven't had a chance to meet Steve Schroeder, you are missing out on life.
It's true.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Steve Schroeder is a remarkable man and a remarkable human being, one of the most brilliant men you'll ever meet, right? And so then all of a sudden, so I meet Steve, and then all of a sudden he introduced me to Larry Lujan.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember having Larry Lujan, meeting him for breakfast, and if you spend like 3 minutes with Larry, you will just be blown away with his wisdom, with his insight. And I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's like a super powerhouse. And so, Larry he mentored me for over the next year, and, he was so gracious with his time and his energy. And then Ernie introduced me to this other amazing man named Jim Garcia. Jim Garcia, if you're watching, man. Oh my God!
She didn't mean it,
Jim Garcia. What a man! You talk about a man with personal fortitude, charity, giving, a heart to serve, and just by his nature, I learned just by watching him in action, not by what he said. And I can't tell you. And through that, I got to meet you. I got to meet so many cool people. And but Ernie was the change agent in that whole process.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons Ernie represents the chamber so well, is that, again, he connects people, and he is he is a connector. And so is Steve Schroeder, Chris Schroeder, all those guys, Larry, Jim for sure. Hey, I know a person, and let me pull you in. And all those guys are great. So that's really cool. What do you think is what's something about you that you think might be a common myth? Do you have like you think like, oh, people who know me think X, but I'm going to debunk it right here live on Facebook?
I think that a lot of people think that being nice and being giving comes easy, and or being loving comes easy, and or having a servant's heart comes easy. Because I'm always willing to serve, I'm always willing to give, and I'm willing to serve and give at a sacrificial point, if that makes sense. Where Ruthie and my girls, they're so willing. But I got to tell you, being a servant leader is a decision, and I'm going to debunk that. It doesn't come easy. It comes at a cost, and
it's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a true choice that you don't have to do.
Yeah, you don't have to do it.
Yep.
And I have chosen to serve. I've chosen to be intentional behind that, and it doesn't come natural. It's not a personality, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been very intentional to make that decision.
Yeah, and you're really amazing at it.
Oh, you're so kind.
I was going to say one of the things that I thought of you when I first met you.
Yeah.
That I'm going to debunk, or I debunked myself. I already debunked myself. I don't know. I just thought that you were just like all business.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I feel like now knowing you're like the opposite of that.
Oh my God, that's so true.
Yeah, like you're not, you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, okay, so we're going to do business lunches and we're going to hang out like this. Like,
yeah. Real
that's
robotic.
really what I thought.
We're going to stay in your lane, JP. Stay in the lane.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like just the second time I hung out with you, I was like, oh no, this guy's not like that at all. Cool. I want to hang out with him. So yeah, it's funny. I debunked that really quickly. So, okay, let's talk about that fear. Do you still experience that fear in business or your personal life that like kind of overtakes you and you have to snap yourself out of it?
It's getting better. It's getting better. And, to say that the fear is not, today is not necessarily paralyzing fear. Sometimes it's intimidation of what's before you. You know what I mean? It's like anticipation, intimidation sometimes, but it's so today's a little bit different. So because, and I don't mean this arrogantly, but I know who I am now.
Yeah. No, age definitely helps.
Yeah, I understand my purpose.
Not that you're old, you're super young.
I am young.
Yeah.
I'm very
we're the
young.
same age, so I'm like, you're super young.
Stop it, yeah. You look a lot younger to me, so but yeah. But I understand who I am. I understand my calling. I understand my purpose. I understand why I'm put on this earth. And what happens is so powerful because when you understand that, I don't need the approval of others.
Yep.
And really, the fear behind it was probably based on other people's approval. Will they like me? Will they do business with me? Will I be able to sell something? And when you understand who you are and the calling and purpose you have on your life, you don't have to fear approval.
So does anything keep you up at night?
Yeah,
in your 4.5 hours of sleep or whatever it is? Yeah.
Yeah, and what that is I don't want to blow the opportunity in front of me, and I don't want to mislead people.
Oh.
Yeah, I take leadership as a sacred oath, and I don't want to mislead people, and I don't want to take them in a direction that we're not supposed to be in, and so it keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I bet that's great for, your agents to hear is that like, oh, well, JP's scared too.
Yeah.
It's not just me, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, I think a healthy amount of fear and a healthy amount of being humble is needed.
Well, I think there's a difference between fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
And I think when you begin to unpack what those mean, and like for instance, like here's a perfect example. Here's actually a true story, right? True story. So I was playing golf in Houston one time, and believe it or not, most people don't know that there's alligators in Houston, right? Yeah, there's alligators. There's a bunch of alligators in certain parts of Houston, and so we're playing golf, and I hit the ball, and if you know the way I play golf, it doesn't stay on the fairway many a times.
It goes real far.
It goes super far, but not in the direction that I want it, right? So here I am. I hit this ball, and I end up just shy of the I was like so excited because the ball didn't go in the water, right? But it went right like to the bank of the water. So I go retrieve my ball. And guess what? As I approach my ball and I'm about to reach into it, I'm like, wait a second, that is not a log, that's an alligator. At that moment, that's real fear. Like, hey, if I can get hurt right here, and that's what fear is all about. Like, fear is healthy because it keeps you from really hurting yourself. And so that sense of fear is healthy. We tell our kids, stay away from fire. Why? Because it can burn you. Hey, stay away from the ledge because you can fall off, right? That's fear. That fear is healthy. But anxiety is a completely different animal, and that's the one you really got to control.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you figure that out, will you let me know?
I will.
Okay, good. Yeah. So we're going to go to another commercial break, but before we do, I wanted to remind everybody about our Biz Gratis event tomorrow. So that event, again, is tomorrow from 3 to 5. It's our largest networking event. It brings members together. It can bring non-members together. You absolutely would like to attend. Go to our Facebook page or our website, and you'll find that event on there. And we will be back with JP Espinosa on the PNM Power Up podcast. I can't, every time.
So
This is Shannon Jackson with PNM. I have some really good news for the small businesses in our community. We know there are many still struggling to make ends meet with this pandemic, and PNM wants to help you. The PNM COVID Customer Relief Fund helps eligible customers pay down or possibly even pay off your past due PNM bill. In fact, we actually just increased the amount of assistance to $500 for small businesses and nonprofits that are behind on their electric bill. This is especially if you are a small business owner in the restaurant, retail, hospitality, leisure, or entertainment industry, or if you offer services through things like salons, massage therapy, or small automotive garages, things like that. If you need help paying your past due PNM bill, apply online at pnm.com/help or contact us at 855-364-2950. That's pnm.com/help for all the details and to also apply, or you can call us at 855-364-2950. The deadline to apply is March 31st though. So we care about you, our community, and we really just want to provide you with every dollar of financial help that's available.
We're back with JP Espinosa, and I just like saying it, JP Espinosa. I do want to remind everybody, and a little plug to Angelique. She's doing a great job with this podcast, and she has gotten our little podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and iHeartRadio.
Man, Angelique, we're so proud of you.
I know, it's super cool. So we also, you can come back and view it if you don't have time to view the whole thing right now. I know some of you are out there engaging with us, and so we appreciate you. So can you believe we've already gone through 45 minutes,
Oh,
man?
my God. Hanging out with you, boom, time flies.
It's fun. So you talked a lot about the resources that you've gathered here in New Mexico and Albuquerque, and the connections you've made with, and essentially, even though it was, it is Ernie that brought you with all those people, it's the chamber, right?
Sure, you betcha.
So it's brought a lot of people together. What are some other resources that you would like to tell some of this, entrepreneurs and small business people out in our community about here in New Mexico that you think they should reach out for?
I'll tell you, if you're an entrepreneur and you are a business owner, I want to tell you this. Do not, and listen to me, please, do not be scared to invest in yourself. I probably have invested over $100,000 of training over the last 2 to 3 years. I belong to several masterminds around the country. I am not scared to invest $10,000 in a course or some type of mentorship program so I can sharpen my skill set. And some of those resources may be taking marketing classes and really understanding how the market buys and moves. Sharpening your skill set within your systems and processes, and perhaps hiring a coach or a mentor to help you unpack that. Because sometimes a coach and a mentor will see things that you don't see, because we're often so close to the business that we forget about some of the things that we should be doing. And so some of those resources that they can be found here in the chamber, but they're found throughout the state, but they're also found in different places throughout your national network.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you and I talked about, your business is very entrepreneurial minded.
Right.
And again, it's very similar to just having your own business. You really lead, a team of 50 small business owners, right?
Right.
And you yourself were one of those agents at one point.
I was.
And then, you've started all these other little kind of side gigs, things and things that are passionate for you, for Ruthie, for your family. So can you tell us a little bit about some of those things that you've done and are doing?
Yeah, Ruthie and I, I believe we have an amazing marriage, and we've gone through our stuff, and marriage is not butterflies and, unicorns and kisses, you know what I mean?
Not always.
Not always. Marriage is tough, and one day we were looking at it. One of our friends were saying, man, you guys should do like your own little marriage workshop. And I was like, what, you think so? And they're like, yeah, you should, because people struggle with marriage. And so, some of those, and it actually became a business, and we help people in their marriage. And, we did the last conference we had over 400 people show up, and it was really cool to show people how like marriage and business work, how to talk about money, how to unite with kids. And what I'll tell you is that it's about seeing how you can just be a resource to others, because life is tough. And so we just kind of figured out like, hey, what can we do to help someone else, And so we're in the process of forming a group right now. We're about to launch it here soon. It's called the Rainmaker Nation. The Rainmaker Nation, and it's going to be for New Mexico. And it has nothing to do with necessarily my personal business, but what I believe that right now, as we begin to reset and rebound during COVID, what I call the post-pandemic economy, or I'm coining it as a post-pandemic economy, we're going to have to learn how to do business different. Lead generation and marketing is going to shift completely. And so what the Rainmaker Nation is designed to do is to bring people together so we can begin to form new ideas around marketing and strategies on how to scale our businesses. And it's going to be a free process. It's going to be for the community. It's going to be a free platform.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing, JP. And I love that you're always pitching out ideas. And when we've golfed or had a drink or something, you're just like, it's like, oh man, I have this idea. What do you think? Okay, just give it to me. And I know that just as friends and colleagues, you and I have talked about, my troubles and different things, and you've really helped out in keeping an open mind and keeping your experience really true to what you've gone through in the last 28 years.
Yeah, you betcha.
One of the fun questions that I wanted to kind of ask you, and we don't have a lot of time, so you and I can't spar so long. I kept this one for the end on purpose.
Did. Okay.
One thing I think that's great is that there's a lot of diversity on our board.
There is.
There's people of all political beliefs, religious beliefs, backgrounds, everything you can think of is nationalities, everything, ethnicities. And so one of the things you and I always kind of banter about is our differences.
Yeah.
And always respectfully, always in a great way. But why do you think that you have the ability to kind of see past your differences with people? I think you're one of the great ones that does a good job at that. I think that you bring me back down sometimes, because I feel like sometimes I've screamed at you about things and then you're like, hey,
hey,
chill out. But honestly, I think you're really good at that. So how can you tell people, hey, if you can see past your differences with someone, that person, that's one of those opportunities. Don't let the differences, because you and I see differently on a lot of things, politically, religiously, other things.
Right.
We've talked about it at length. But how do we tell people out there, hey, don't let those differences make you not have an opportunity for that relationship?
You know what I believe that when I talk about relationships in this standpoint, I'm talking about, whether it's your marriage or whether it's your business relations or friendships, one of the greatest destroyers of relationships is offense, personal offense, when I get offended. And one thing that I had to learn how to do is I had to put my offense in check. And that's tough to do because it's so easy to get offended.
Yeah, I'm not good at that yet, but you are really good. You really are. You really are.
Yeah, so I used to wear my offense on my sleeve, and when I realized that my offense is really destroying relationships, I decided to put my offense aside. And when someone doesn't agree with me, it's not my job to prove them wrong. It's not my job to get offended. And so, you and I certainly, we don't, I won't say we don't share, like you said, we have differences.
Yeah.
Right? Differences, specifically politically. Mm-hmm. Right? And we've gotten passionate about that, right?
We have.
Let's say this, passionate differences.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And really, you could probably even say polar differences.
Uh-huh.
Right?
And that's okay.
But every time I get around you, I learn something new. And if I allow that offense to block me from building a relationship with you and learning something new, I really hurt myself.
Yeah, shame on that person. I've seen that too. I've really learned that the last several years, and you're one of the people who's made me realize that, like, just because they're different than you, Aaron, doesn't mean they're wrong.
Yeah. Doesn't
mean that they're just different. And I think it's really great to be able to do that because I would have lost out on an opportunity.
Right. Yeah. And so, I have my boundaries, because at the end of the day, I have my values, and I can't violate my values, but that doesn't mean I can't engage and impart and learn from someone who may have different values than I do.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I definitely give you a trophy for that because I think you're pretty amazing at that.
You're so kind.
So we're kind of wrapping up on our interview here. If you could step into my shoes as the interviewer.
Yeah.
Not literally in my shoes. You couldn't handle them, JP. Sorry. They're like 6-inch heels. But so if you could step into my shoes and ask yourself a question, what question didn't I ask you that you would ask yourself?
Man, that's tough. That's tough. So I would ask myself, here we go. What are you going to do to impact people during this reset, recovery, and rebound environment?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to do to contribute? Because I think right now, in order for us to move forward as a community, as New Mexicans, is that we're going to have to come together. Yeah. Because no longer we remain isolated in our silos. And we may be distant socially, but we're not distant in heart and distant in passion, and we got to bring that together.
So what are you going to do?
Well,
I like the Rainmaker Nation thing is one thing I think for sure.
The Rainmaker Nation is going to be powerful because I believe it's going to provide opportunities for people who may feel that the opportunities don't exist right now. And I believe that you're going to have to look at marketing completely different, and it's going to expose and bring to light those opportunities and make them easy and plain. I think that there's like this people think like there's this mystical cloud or this mystical veil that you're going to have to press through, and it's really not true. And you do it by engaging people and helping people solve their problems. And when you do that, you get paid.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get a chance to talk about that during this last hour, but that's what Rainmaker Nation is going to be all about.
Awesome. Well, I know that that's going to be something, just knowing you, knowing Ruthie and, whoever's helping you with that. I'm sure they're great people that are just like you. So I appreciate that. Where can our listeners connect with you online or where have you? Are you on all the things?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, so JP Espinosa on Facebook, so reach out to me. Also, I just started my Instagram account. I was so proud because I'm filling out my bio. I'm check this out.
Your daughters are helping.
I know. Are you kidding me? They're like, Dad, you need to get on Instagram. And so I'm so proud of myself because I put my picture up this weekend. And so
I'm the same way. I'm I don't understand how to use this thing.
Oh my God, and so you can find me on Instagram. So you can be able to find me on Instagram. You can be able to find me on Facebook. You can be able to look me up, and I'm here at the Chamber. If you go to the Chamber site, go to the Board of Directors, and listen, I want to connect with you. Please understand that. If you have any questions about business, opportunity, please connect with me because I want to see if I can help you along with the resources of our great Chamber. There's a new app out that I'm really in the process of playing with called Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Clubhouse is really taking off, and we want to build a channel there, so you'll be able to connect with me on Clubhouse here very soon. So
awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things you did as our chairman is you challenged the board last year during our retreat before you came into office, and you said something like, if we have a huge board, it's 37 people or something like that, and 37 amazing people. I'm not saying myself, but I'm saying the other 36 are amazing.
Then why do we have to call you Queen, Erin? I don't understand that. I don't understand why
I'm sorry. I thought it was a reina. It wasn't queen. It was a reina. La reina. What I want to make sure that everybody knows is that JP challenged us and asked each of the board members to mentor a small business person.
Yeah, that's right.
Whether it was a member, preferably a member, obviously, but so we're asking everybody to reach out to us, and hopefully we can connect you with a board member that is willing and able to help the community, because that's what we're all about, right? And especially during that reset, recover, rebound, that's going to be one of the ways, because I have to tell you, it is the way I have built my business.
That's right.
I know it's the way you've built your business in New Mexico.
Indeed.
So any parting last words, Mr. Espinosa, before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, don't let the dream die, and don't let this post-pandemic economy stop you from pressing forward. I do believe that there's great successes for you waiting for those people who press through this doubt or concern or fear and anxiety, and don't let that hold you back. And you have to understand, please, that our chamber's here to serve you. We exist to serve you, and we want to serve you. So please reach out to our chamber staff. Every one of our team members are all hands on deck to do everything they can within their scope and within their power to see you succeed. So, I don't say this lightly, but we love New Mexico. We love you, and we believe in you, and we're here to serve you.
Well, thanks, JP. We just love you, Mr. Espinosa. You are awesome, and you do so much for New Mexico. I'm so glad you're here. I would love for you to stay in New Mexico, and even though, we both have our hearts in Texas sometimes.
Yep.
So thank you for your time today. We really appreciate you. I want to remind everybody about our second annual Community Day. I did think it was our first annual, but it is our second annual Community Day, and it's this Friday. It's going to be most of the day. It's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please don't hesitate to come to it. You can grab some PPE. We have over 700 boxes of PPE to hand out to our local community and to everybody who needs help in that arena. And then you'll be able to connect with other people that are here as well. So we appreciate that. Thank you so much to PNM for our sponsor, obviously, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the Power Up by PNM podcast hour in partnership with the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And again, a big shout out to our sponsor, the folks at PNM, who help keep your businesses energy efficient. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday at noon to hear from those in the community that are moving us forward. And for more information about the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, call us at 842-9003 or visit us online for more information at www.ahcnm.org, and to replay this podcast, add a /chamber chat.